Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. Continuing in the vein of trying to put things right on the Thunderbird that have been wrong for probably a long time. Anybody that's observant will have noticed that my heater hose is bypassed. And here are the heater pipes. The reason that these are disconnected is because the heater core sprung a leak. Now you've got to understand, I've had this car a long time. It was probably 20 years ago when that sprung a leak, or longer even. So I disconnected the heater, bypassed it, and that's how it is. Now, this heater core wasn't originally a Thunderbird heater core. It was from actually a console Capri, and I shortened it, soldered it all up, and put it in here. In the meantime, I saw this heater core. Now you've got to understand, this was probably, let's say, 15 years ago when I saw that and bought it. And I've never actually really tried to have a good look at it. But it does look at least similar dimensions. So I thought, why don't I get that heater core out and see if this one will fit as a replacement. If it doesn't, I can see if that one can be repaired. You know, just see if I can get a good heater core and, you know, either fit that one or that one, whichever way, it doesn't matter. This piece here appears to be different because this has a different way of attaching the trunk in. This one has these cam locks which just hold that piece. This appears to be a bit bent here, so that might make it a little bit difficult. I'll probably break it if I try and straighten that. But you know, hey, it's only metal that can be soldered, isn't it? So I'll get that apart and I'll get that off. We'll have a look, see what's going on. Okay, back in a bit then. Okay, I've got this one torn down. Came apart quite easily. I had to bend that down a little bit. You can see where probably somebody's tried to twist the hose off and it's actually twisted the thing, but hopefully it should be okay. Doesn't look too bad. There's a little bit of rust there, maybe, don't know. Let's see what happens. I've got the other one loosened off as well. I've just started to move it and I thought, oh, I'll get the camera out. You see there's a screw coming through from the back. You don't have to undo that, it just goes through a hole. So there's my thing. Okay. I mean, this is a right old mess. These are the tanks off the Thunderbird one, and this was off the console Capri, and I shortened this, so it was a right old, you know, I cut the end off, got all the tubes out, then cut the thing down and soldered all the tubes, so there's a hell of a lot of soldering in this. It also looks like I've dug into it to try and expose a leak there, which I haven't. Well, I don't know, but apparently this one leaks, so it'd be interesting to try and apply a bit of air to it and see where it's leaking from. Or I could just put that one in, if it fits. I hope it does. Is that, this looks, I don't know. Yeah, it might fit, yeah. Could do, couldn't it? Okay. I'll get this one out then. Just those 4 screws. You don't need to see me undo 4 screws. Okay, back in a bit then. That fits perfectly in there. It fits absolutely blind on. Even to the point of the holes lining up, look, for the screws to go in. So it is the correct heater element. How cool is that? Because cool. You know, how neat is that? Because I just bought this blind at a swap meet, just completely randomly. You know, this heater core, thinking, well, that looks a bit like the one in the Thunderbird. I mean, it was years after I probably wasn't even driving the Thunderbird at the time. So I'll get those screws in there then. Probably better to do it two-handed. I might try and rig it up so I can do some sort of a... No, I'll just put it on the car, I think. It only takes, well, not very long at all to get it off. It looks in good condition, doesn't it? I've blown through it, it blows through, and I've kind of blown it into it and held my finger on the one, and it sort of feels like it's holding pressure. Although it'd be hard to detect a leak, I suppose. Let's get that back together then, and I'll get it back on the car, I think. I've done up like a tub of water. I've put the heater hoses on. I've plugged that end, and I've got an air line into this end with a little adapter. Haven't tried it yet. I need to put about 15 psi in. Okay, well that's about 20. Can't see any air bubbles. Let's go a bit higher. Okay, that's nearly 30, that is. And that's okay, isn't it? Can't see any air bubbles coming up. Yeah, looks good, looks good. Yeah, I'd say that's okay. Alright, it was worth just 5 minutes, wasn't it, to rig that up? I'll rig it up on the other one actually and see what that one looks like. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, I've got the original one hooked up. Yeah, look, wow. Blimey, there's evidence straight away, isn't it? Also, wow, blimey, there's evidence straight away. So that was leaking. Yeah. Yeah, I suspect that would have been difficult to fix. So you can see why I disconnected it now. That was causing a leak into the car. It also shows how effective the test is. So the fact that I took the other one to 30 psi and it didn't leak shows that the other one's good, doesn't it? Okay, so that's a leaker. Righto, so that one's obviously no good, but you know, it served the purpose for a while. Okay, righto. I'll start getting the other one fitted then. Back in a bit. Okay, that's all fitted there. I fitted this but realised I couldn't get to my hose clip, so I've took it off again. Right. I'll put the hose pipes back on. I've worked out this one looks like it wants to go to there, and this one looks like it wants to go to there. Now the thing is, this is full of water, you know, coolant. Now I used a trick some time ago that I'm going to try and do it again. It might work, and that is to apply the vacuum cleaner to just above the radiator neck, and just so that there's a vacuum there, and it might just hold the water in suspension and stop it from running out. So I'm going to try and do that. I did it once before on the 32, I think it was. I did it on there when I took the drain tap out, and it did work. So anyway, well, the worst that can happen is that I'll make a mess. I'll put a catch can underneath just in case. When I broke the seal, I could see it was trying to suck water up, so I pulled the vacuum out and just left it nearby rather than in. Okay, so that's got the hoses connected up, that's good. Should do yet another cold start then and see if it pumps water around. The choke thing by hand. Okay, well, that seems, everything there seems okay, but can you see that? There, look, it appears to be leaking. See there? And that tastes of antifreeze. So it looks like there might be a leak after all. Which I don't understand, because it was okay, wasn't it? I don't think it's just the water from when I tested it, because it doesn't taste like just clean water. I can't see what the camera's seeing. Okay, once again, one step forward and two, look at that. Okay. Yeah, right, okay. When I put the heater blower on, it blew a load of that out. So what does that mean? Well, I can't understand that. Can you? Was it everything I do takes 2 or 3 goes? It's nice and hot. Okay, I'll turn it off. I'll turn it off and take it off and do another pressure test. Righto. Anyway, the idea was there, wasn't it? It appears to be the bottom of this end here. Okay, righto. Back in a bit then. Well, I've got it rigged back up. The first time I tried to test it, there was a lot of air coming around here where the hose is connected, but that has got, well, it hasn't got anything at the moment, so let's put a bit of air in it. Again, that's between about 25-30 psi. Not a sausage. So why was it leaking? You'd have to say that's okay, wouldn't you? So what I think I'm going to assume is that the hose, because this pipe is a little bit distorted, maybe the hose didn't make a good connection, so the hose wasn't properly sealed to the pipe, and it leaked there and then went in and down and dripped out. That's all I can assume. Okay, I'm more or less out of time for my session today, so I'm going to leave it at that, and tomorrow I'll come back and I'll set it all up again and see how it turns out. Okay, but at least I've proven the point that it fits. I hope when I fit it now and pay more attention to the fit of the hose, I will have more success. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show, but for now, take care and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then, bye. Hello, it's the day after, and last night I tested the thing and it does seem to be okay. So I think it might have just been a bad connection here, which led to a leak that went inside and drained through. So I haven't screwed this on, but I've connected the hoses. I've put some extra water in the radiator, so I'm going to start it up and run it again and just see that it doesn't leak. Okay, let's see how it goes. It looks okay actually. It looks okay the second time. There's no water leaking. I think I just must have had a bad connection on one of the hoses. I didn't show it, but what I did in the meantime was I put something up the pipe and used a hammer to sort of hammer and dolly it into a better shape, and I've made sure that the clips are tight now. Having two matching ones would have been good, wouldn't it? But that's okay now, so I'll get this fitted. I thought I'll just test it like that before I, screw it all on. Blimey. I don't know if you saw what happened then. I was leaning across there, just feeling the warmth coming out of the heater, and without realising it, I nudged the shifter from neutral to reverse, and the car took off. I've knocked over the bucket and the tub that I was using, and I've come very close to having a crash here. Well, I have had a crash. Look, I've run into the thing there. Luckily I didn't come back any further. The grating you heard was me shoving it into park. Wow. Okay. Right, I'll move it forward again now. Foot on brake. There's a hammer there. Yeah, I've just run into it, that's it. This needs an adjustment here because that's in neutral and against the reverse. Do you know, I must have pushed this with my body like that. You know, it's got a push button. I'll put it like that. Anyway, I was lying across here. I was lying across here, just having a look up there. You can't feel that, but that's warm air. It's not leaking, so that's good. Okay. So, a bit of a near disaster there. Somehow I pushed it like that and pushed the button and went like that, but without doing it with my hand. I must have done it with my body. I have to be careful because if it's in neutral like that, which is where it has to be to start, and bear in mind I've been leaning in and starting it on the key. If it's at the front end of the gate, everything's fine, but if you pull it back, especially if you pull it back quickly against that bit there, it goes into drive. So that's neutral, look, and that's drive, so you have to be careful. As long as it's there, it's alright. You know, I don't trust it now. Okay, so that's off. I love these old switches. Low, temp, high. That don't work, and I'll tell you why. And this don't work either, but I'm not sure why. Again, it's more things I need to look at. On the side of that, where is it? There, can you see those two mounting holes and that cable? That is where a vacuum operated heater control mounts, and it's missing. It's always been missing. I've never had it. So, and it works in conjunction with the valve on the engine that I don't have. Hang on, let's get out of the car. Here, there should be a vacuum operated heat valve, and the control for that vacuum operated heat valve is normally attached to the heater where I showed you under the dash there. I don't have that piece, never had it. I had one of those, but it was no good, so I have done without it. So I've just got that neck thing there that I've put in. So what I intend to do is I've ordered a little hose, a little valve that you put in line in the pipe. So I'll fit that down underneath here where it's not very visible, and just turn it on and off manually. So that's another job for another day. Somebody was asking about these things. They're just some labels that I put on the plug wires, because you can see it flapping about. This one's about to fall off, so I'll take that off. Number 2. I want to do something to hold these hoses up there and there is a hole there in the inner fender, so I'll make some sort of a bracket or something to hold those there. So let's just sum this up then, because my battery's going flat in my camera. So yeah, good. I have replaced the heater element in there, and although it leaked the first time, it's okay now, and there was nothing actually wrong with it. I tested it the second time, it was okay, and I've fitted the hoses now more carefully and everything's fine, and it gets hot, and the blower works, this blower works. So yeah, a good little job, because you know, it just doesn't look very good, does it, with the hoses just lying here and not connected, and a bypass loop on the engine. It just looks rubbish. I'll leave it at that because my battery's getting very flat. Thanks very much for joining me in the garage. We had a near disaster there. You can see that the car is in line with the wooden post there. You know, it needs to be on lock to go out. So I had a little bit of a near disaster there. Luckily I shoved it into park. Thank you very much for joining me in the garage. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then. Bye.